What is up, guys? Ariel Patrice here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hello, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you for staying. So this video is going to be how to maintain a 4.0 in your graduate program. And so is it important to maintain a 4.0? Absolutely not. Is it important to maintain a 3.0? Yes. When you are in grad school, it's a little bit different because in undergrad, if you go below a 2.0, then you can be on academic probation and you can start to go down from there. But in your graduate program, you have to maintain a 3.0 or higher. If you go below a 3.0, then at that point you could probably be placed on probation or be removed from the program. But is it necessary to maintain a 4.0? No, it's not. But it is something that a lot of graduate students do strive for. And so far, I have been able to maintain my 4.0. So I just kind of wanted to go over 4 different things to kind of help you to maintain a 4.0 if that's something that you're striving towards. So the first one, I think for sure, that outweighs anything would be passion and motivation. If you're just going to grad school, whether it be to get your master's, specifically more like what I'm doing to get your Ph.D., if you're just going to get your Ph.D. for the title, then there's not a lot of passion or motivation on why you are entering in the field that you're entering to. You're just doing it so somebody can call you doctor. You're doing it for the prestige or for the power or whatever else. It's not for good intent if that's the only reason why you're going for. And so if you don't have passion and motivation for what it is that you're doing, then you're going to give the minimal of what you can do so that you can get your degree. You're not going to strive to be the best or to try to be the best or learn as much as you can and actually learn to grow for your field. And so for me, I really am passionate about how trauma affects kids and adolescents and just people in general in their academic settings. That's the whole reason why I'm getting my PhD, because I want to do research in that. But if you're getting your PhD just so somebody can call you whatever, then you're going to give enough to where you can maintain that 3.0, but you don't really care. You might not even actually use it, but you still have that where people can call you it. So if that's the only reason why you're going, you might have motivation in the very beginning of, okay, I'm going so I can get called doctor or whatever the reason might be. You might have motivation and passion. Well, you probably don't have passion, but you will most likely have motivation for a period in time, but that motivation will wear off because eventually it'll just be like, well, I'm here and I'm going to get it anyway, so whatever kind of thing. So you absolutely have to have passion and motivation because that's what makes it fun for you. If it's fun for you, it never actually feels like work or things that are just intolerable. You know what I mean? So you want to enjoy it. I'm doing something that I enjoy. And even though there is a class where it's like really hard, like my stats class I had this last semester, I worked my butt off and I still was able to manage an A because this is in a program and still a situation where I want to work towards something and be the best that I can, the best version of myself as a student and a school psychologist. And so every experience is a learning experience, but it's also something that I'm like excited for. It's an exciting motivational experience. And so that's absolutely number one. You absolutely have to have passion and motivation, or else it's just going to feel chore-like. You never want something to feel chore-like, because if it does, then you can grow to resent it. But if you are doing something that you actually like, then it never feels overwhelming. It never feels like work. The second thing is actually time management and good balance. That is definitely important. So I understand that there are a lot of people going for their master's or the Ph.D. who have families, who are older, and have, kids. They have work outside of this on top of a full-time student. And so that is a lot of stuff to do. And so time management is absolutely necessary in order for you to maintain a 4.0, because if you can't have good balance in all of these different areas of your life, then one of them is going to fall short somewhere, right? And so like for me, I don't have kids. I don't have a family that I have to take care of. It's just me. And I am in a fortunate situation in that regard. But that being said, I do have a full-time job. And then on top of my full-time job, I do have a private practice. And on top of my private practice, I have my full-time role as a student. And then on top of that, I have another job where I do some different contract work. So I do a lot. And school requires a lot of you, especially when you're taking 4 courses a semester. And so being able to balance in the way that works for me has helped me to maintain that 4.0. So what is important to you, and what is something that you don't want to lose? Obviously, if there's things that are important to you, you never want to put one on the back burner. You want to be able to kind of line them out so you don't feel like you're neglecting anything. And so for me, I like to work out. That is the best self-care that I can do for myself. And so I will either go before I start my day or after I start my day, 5 to 6 times a week, just depending on how I feel. And I have my full-time job. I really can't do anything with that. My private practice, what I do now is I will set clients up every other weekend. So that means that I have 2 weekends in the month to myself where I can just kind of calm down, regroup, do more studying if I want to, or just have time for me. Because I was at one point to practice every single weekend, and I felt myself starting to get burnout. And because I was starting to get burnout, that will in turn go into my schoolwork. I won't want to do my schoolwork because I'm just done with everything. And so balance is definitely key. And just kind of setting that schedule, even if you're not a type A person, that's completely fine. But if you set a schedule of what these days look like and communicate that to maybe your significant other or to your kids or whatever, even if it's just for yourself, having that time where you can say, this is what this day looks like and this is what this day looks like is going to be super beneficial because I have this time that I'm doing my schoolwork. I have this time where it's just for me, this time where it's for me and my kids, this time where it's for me and my spouse, my significant other, whoever, and it's kind of laid out so you know what those days look like. But if you just kind of go on a whim and you're like, okay, I can do all of this over here, but then you feel neglected over here, it will build up resentment, or it will feel like you are not doing the best that you could, and then it becomes overwhelming, and I don't want that to happen either. The third thing is that you absolutely need to be a self-starter. As we are in grad school, nobody's holding our hand, right? And so we basically have to do everything that we want to do as far as work and all of that on our own. We have the syllabi that tell us, what the class is going to look like and the different assignments we're going to have. And it's kind of at our pace at the beginning until you have those due dates. But there's never a set what day to do it or whatever. You have to kind of decide that on your own. And so you have to absolutely be a self-starter. If you procrastinate, there is no way that you're going to be able to maintain that 4.0 if you're taking multiple classes a semester, because if you're procrastinating in everything, you're going to feel overwhelmed at the end. And one of those assignments or one of those courses is going to be neglected, and you might get a B because we waited till the end. We're grown ass adults, right? Nobody is going to hold our hand and be like, okay, Ariel, let's go. Oh, just remember, you go ahead and start this assignment right here and let me help you with this. No, absolutely not. We have to look at what it is that we have in our life and what those priorities look like each week so we know what we need to do. If we're not able to do that, then we're not going to be progressive or productive until we absolutely have to. When we feel rushed, I can't speak for everybody, but when I feel rushed, I am definitely not giving my best performance in anything because I'm just like, okay, let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. It doesn't even matter what it looks like. Let's just do it. And I can't do that. I can't do that if I want to maintain the 4.0. And so being able to self-start and really just have purposeful work ethic is going to help us in this. We can't be slack. To a certain extent, there might be time periods in semesters where you can be, and be grateful for those. But for the most part, throughout the semester, you just can't. You can't be slack if you want to improve on your grades and improve on yourself and not feel rushed or overwhelmed or feel like everything's just kind of chaotic and out of order. And the last thing, I think, definitely to help to maintain a 4.0 GPA in grad school, specifically Ph.D., because I am in my Ph.D., is don't be afraid to ask for help. I know sometimes people in grad school can feel like they cannot ask for help because they're supposed to know it all, or they're supposed to be able, we put a higher expectation on ourselves than we need to. And there is nothing wrong with asking for help. Don't let your pride get in the way of you succeeding and you reaching the goals that you have for yourself. And so this past semester, I had study groups. I had quite a few people where me and them were talking and helping each other out and helping each other on how to understand different things. There is nothing wrong with you asking for help. Absolutely not. There's no rule book saying that you have to do this alone. And that means asking for help from your fellow students or even asking your professors to explain something for you and asking how to manage something or whatever. They'd be more than happy to help you, as long as you're not asking every day and somebody is literally holding your hand every step of the way. Nobody wants to do that for somebody. Nobody wants to hold somebody else's hand when they have to hold themselves up already. So you have to have some initiative and do stuff for yourself as well, but do not be afraid to ask for help ever. It also opens the door to allow people to see that, oh, I don't have to do this on my own. So if I ask somebody for help, the person I'm asking might have thought they might have had to do it all on their own as well. But now they know that they have somebody in me who they can come to as well because I was able to ask them. But maybe they were too afraid to ask other people because they weren't sure how others would look at them or if that was okay. And I'm here to tell you it's completely okay. Me being able to do that, other people were able to do it for me as well. And it was really beneficial for me this past semester and semesters before, because now I have a group of people where we can always rely on each other to help each other out and help each other understand and not feel like we have to do it alone. I can't really think of anything else, but I think those four definitely are the main things on what's going to help you maintain a 4.0. Number one, first and foremost, you have got to be passionate and have motivation for this, because if you don't, then what are you actually doing it for? If it's just a title, you have to reevaluate yourself. What are you actually doing it for? The second is time management, balancing out your professional and your personal life so it's not being neglected on one end or the other and you don't start to feel resentment. You feel content in all areas. And some weeks may look different than others, and that's okay. But if you start to fall into a pattern of I'm starting to neglect more family or more work or more school, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing and start to balance that out better. That works for you. That's going to look different for everybody, but as long as you have it, then you're in a good spot. The third is just that self-starter, and that is making sure that you basically get your shit together and you try to initiate things on your own without somebody holding your hand. And then that last thing is not being afraid to ask for help. I don't think one is more important than the other per se. I think they all definitely have a huge hindrance or a huge profit in however which way that you use it. So yeah, that's all I got for now. I hope that this helped. If you do have a question, just leave a comment down below. I know I probably might have missed something, but I know that these are the 4 things that definitely have worked for me and helped me to maintain my 4.0. I appreciate you all. I love you so much. I appreciate you staying with me through this journey. And until next time, bye.